Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the International House of Games, or as we like to call it, the IHOG. My name is Panzer, and with me today are my co-hosts Foxy Fauna and CondorsCondor. And we have a guest today. We have Mr. WeaselZone there in the corner as well. Yeah, so this is the pilot episode. This is the first episode of this podcast, and hopefully it will be a good one, or we'll just cancel the show and never do it again. We'll see. We'll see how we go. All right. Okay, so if you're seeing this on my channel, you might be familiar with what I do. I do first impressions and a little bit of Let's Play stuff on my channel now, and this is the new edition. But you might not be familiar with my co-hosts or even my guests, so let's start with Foxy. What do you do?
Well, I've kind of been out of it for a little while, but mainly I just tend to focus on Let's Plays, and I even do a few makeup tutorials here and there on my YouTube channel. I do have Twitter, and it is basically Twitter and YouTube that I tend to stick to, really. But hopefully in 2016, yes, it's 2016 next year, I'm going to be starting up streaming and stuff again. Fingers crossed. Yeah, that's mainly what I do.
Alright, that sounds really good. And as you can see as well, we have the flags representing on here. Of course, my guests have not seen this yet. But we do have flags next to our names, and that of course represents the different regions we're from. After all, we are international. So you can see which part we're from. And Condor, of course, will be representing the North American region. Weasel as well, I believe you're now there. So yes. Condor, what is it that you do?
I am primarily a Twitch streamer. I don't really have a schedule and haven't been keeping up with it great lately, but I enjoy it, and it's what I do. I also have a Twitter, like Foxy over there, and that's mainly what I stick to.
Alright, and of course, last but definitely not least, our guest today, WeaselZone. He is there in the corner with a German flag next to him, of course, but he's not, I believe, not currently in Germany, so what is it that you do at the moment?
I'm currently working on my YouTube channel. That's what I'm sticking to, Twitter as well. But yeah, mostly YouTube, WeaselZone, where I'm doing Let's Plays and silly videos, whatever of, well, whatever game I want to play. And people apparently like me talk or play games, so they watch me, and that's what I do.
Yes, I think talking and gaming is something that might catch on at some point, yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
About it.
I've heard a lot about it, definitely.
Yeah, I think it's going to die out eventually.
Oh, yeah. It might, it might. I don't know, it's one of those goofy things that people do, and who knows, maybe it's a gimmick.
The internet. It's very gimmicky, this internet.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have an internet full of cat videos and waffles falling over.
Yeah.
Alright, so... Right, so this is the first episode, of course, and we've had ups and downs this week as well, and what is it that everyone's been playing? I mean, I've been playing a little bit of The Witcher 3, amongst other games, and... Well, Foxy, what have you been up to? What have you been playing recently?
I've mainly been playing Destiny, because the House of Wolves update has come out... When did it come out? Last week? Yes, last week. Which has been quite good. Yeah, it's, brought a few players back that got kind of bored of the Dark Below and, well, just generally bored of the continuous wrap of Destiny. But yeah, it's nice to see some new features and just experience new content and things again.
Yeah, I mean, I tried to get into Destiny. I think I've only leveled up one character, and that's about it, really. I mean, the shooting's good. I will say the shooting's
on a
good.
console.
Yeah, it's pretty good shooter, but I never really got into the rest of it. Sorry to disappoint you.
I've kind of completely burnt out on it myself, so...
Aw, it's a shame.
Yeah. Put a lot of hours into it, so I got my money's worth out of it, that's for sure.
Foxy, you look genuinely disappointed when you said that.
Yeah, because he used to play it so much. Because, I mean, well, we all used to play it quite a lot, didn't we?
Yeah.
It's quite sad to hear someone that's got just bored with it, but, I mean, it's fair enough, isn't it?
Yeah.
And what about you, Weasel? What have you been up to this week?
I've been mostly coding, just learning. I don't get to play games. No, I've been playing some really obscure indie games for my channel, like Unophobia. It's gonna come up. It's a great horror game. But other than that, RimWorld, whatever. I feel like, what was it that I recently played? Kitty Powers. What is it called? Matchmaking game. It's yeah, we have a matchmaking agency. Kitty Powers, a British drag queen. It's a really obscure theme, but surprisingly fun, and people seem to really enjoy it. So that's what I've been playing, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, oh right, and on stream I've been playing a gold German game simulator game, a combination of 3 German simulator games: fire department, helicopter game, and a police game, which is like the worst version of Need for Speed you can imagine. So yeah.
How do you even say that name? I mean, that's
Einsatzkräfte.
Wow.
It's not a beautiful word. It's I don't even know
I was reading in my head.
It's what?
You hold it up again? I was like, Einsatzkraft. None of the German charm in it.
That's fine. That's fine. Won't take any offense there. I like it when foreigners try to speak German. It sounds always very funny to me. I don't take offense to that. So yeah, that's what I've been playing.
And that must be a lot of fun. So I'm assuming buggy physics and interesting.
Oh, buggy physics? You mean broken games? That's pretty much what it comes down to. I mean, I'm talking about where the whole screen goes wonky and textures just fly across the scene with bad English hip hop in the background while you're racing down the street in a futuristic city that has nothing to do with Frankfurt. It is by far one of the worst games that I've ever played. The police simulator. The only thing that is German about it is the color of the car, which looks a little bit like a German police car. That's all there is. That it's really completely broken, and the whole thing cost me €1, which is like our dollar store. So where I got
wow,
you get what you pay for.
Yeah.
Well, at least they got some element of immersion there with the colors. I mean, they got to get something right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a good laugh out of it on stream. I mean, the thing was just falling apart. There's nothing quite like as entertaining as a complete disaster. It's like, yeah.
I'm amazed you could actually even capture it.
It worked somehow.
Yeah, a lot of games like that, they just don't capture. They hate it.
It's voodoo magic, that's what it is.
Maybe that's why it crashed. Who knows?
Yeah, probably.
Alright, well, Condor, what have you been up to this week?
Well, I've been playing a lot of Elite Dangerous again. I've been getting back into that, as Panzer knows. I've also been playing RimWorld as well. I love that game. I'm in love with it. I've been playing it since, like, Alpha... I think, probably Alpha 3, I think? I don't remember how long ago it was. It was a while. But, yeah, that's... And, I think I've been playing a little bit of War Thunder, but I've kind of not much as I used to. And that's really about it, honestly. I just kind of stick to a few games when I play stuff.
Yeah, actually, Elite Dangerous is one of those games where you either get really immersed in it or you get bored straight away. There's so much going on.
I think it needs a lot more depth, honestly, because it doesn't have a lot. It's very, like, I don't know, not bare bones, but it doesn't have a lot going on in the game at the moment. It's more like you pick a few things and you do them, and that's it.
Yeah, it's basically the definition of a complete sandbox. It's like, you have these possibilities and no direction. What do? Go on.
You just do whatever you want to do, basically.
No, I just break down and cry in a corner. That's what I do.
Oh, well, okay. You can do that, too.
But yeah, I think we're going to be getting back into that in a big way with the new updates that are coming out. With now they've added proper group management and squadron play, so that works. And I think they're going to add some sort of... it sounds like a bit of clans sort of thing, but it's not really player-made factions. It's more, I think, NPC factions, and you fight for their side or something like that.
Yeah.
Either way, it sounds interesting.
I think it's going to be good. Like I said, any more depth than it has now is a good thing. So.
Yeah. And is that a tumbleweed? No. So yeah, hopefully we get into Elite Dangerous a little bit more. I'm thinking of maybe streaming it again at some point, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Definitely do want to get some more group play going in. All right, so now that we're all nicely warmed up, we actually have this segment of the show where we talk about gaming news, and of course, yes, this is a gaming show, and we talk about news from all over the global gaming scene, if you will, because after all, we're an international podcast. And I think I might want to start off this one because this is a big topic that's been all over Twitter, all over the media for the last week or so, and that's been The Witcher 3. Now, I mean, most of us here have played a little bit of The Witcher already, right?
Yeah.
Or at least we're familiar with what the game is. And the thing that I've been seeing a lot is something that people are calling a graphical downgrade. And it's been a huge back and forth between, is it actually a downgrade or is it not? And then, did CD Projekt Red, the developers, give you a clear idea of what was going to happen back when they first announced it or not? So I've been having a look at this, and a few things started to click for me that I don't think that the developer is entirely at fault here. But at the same time, there's a lot of miscommunication going on. So let me just quickly set the scene for you and read out what was posted by Eurogamer recently with regards to this issue. So the developers have actually spoken out about this, and the company's co-founder, I think his name is Marcin Iwinski? I might be saying that wrong. Apologies if I'm saying it wrong. But he did actually say that there were some issues with what they originally created, and when they first unveiled it at trade shows and conventions, that what they showed was a prototype of what they could make at the time, like what was possible. But at the time, they didn't know what they were building for, because after all, everybody's PC build is different, and consoles specs were not clear at that point in time when it was first announced, so things were going to change. So when the game finally came out, recently, it didn't look anything like it did in 2013. So what's going on? Yeah, does anyone have any thoughts on that? Because I think it's been something that's been debated really heavily recently.
I read the article too that you were talking about once it came out, the first discussion, and I actually liked the fact that he openly talked about the fact that Witcher 3 would have not been Witcher 3 if it was not for a console, so they did have to take in consideration. It's an important part for sales. They couldn't have made a big game like The Witcher if they didn't, in some way cater to consoles. So I can understand that they said they made a prototype, as you said, in a small scale. They pretty much expanded into a giant open world, which they did not have at the time of the trailer. So performance just dropped on that. Some rendering method. I don't know what the actual problem was, but I can see that. But as you said, it was not communicated clearly. They were showing something really pretty, and then the game looked different, with no idea what was in between. So that was, I think, the biggest issue here. But I don't know if downgrade is the right thing, because it still looks very stunning on PC, of course, better than on consoles. But I didn't watch too many comparison videos, but it is quite the surprising graphical difference between those two versions with 2 years in between. So it was a conscious decision to downgrade graphics there, definitely.
Yeah, I mean,
that's
you can understand why people are getting angry, because essentially they were kind of not tricked, but they thought they were getting something and advertised something that they haven't now got. So I can understand a lot of people feeling like they've paid for something that they're now not getting. But my opinion of it is you're still getting the game. I mean, you're still getting all the quests and everything that you were promised in the first place. It just doesn't look as pretty. I mean, the first thing that I noticed as soon as I started up the game was wow, there are no details on the leaves or anything. It's just green splodges. I was like, well, to be honest, I can handle this. I played Skyrim in mediocre graphics because my laptop can handle it.
And you had fun, right?
Exactly, I love it. I spent over 400 hours, on that game. Didn't change it for me.
Yeah, my question now is, though, they because I didn't watch trailers before release or gameplay videos before release, They had gameplay videos before the game came out, right? And I remember they were already comparing graphical qualities between those two. So they were advertising, in a way, the game as it is before it was released. the 2013 version was just prettier. So it was just like a preview. So I don't know. I don't feel betrayed or anything, and I don't know why people are so. It's not Watch Dogs where they clearly right before the game launched showed really beautiful gameplay and then downgraded it or released the downgraded version. The Witcher had gameplay videos released where they could see how it looked like, and then after the fact they got upset.
Yeah, sorry, Condor, go ahead.
That was kind of my point. It was like, this isn't the same as the Watch Dogs release, which is just a blatant, I don't know, just a bad decision on Ubisoft's part. This is something different to me. And besides the fact that the game still looks great as it is in many respects, I don't see why people are getting as mad as they are. I can understand being disappointed, but not, like, mad, I guess. Weird to me.
Yeah, to be honest, I think like a lot of people were saying that they've been lied to and all that. Like across forums and I think on Reddit, the words misled or lied, misrepresented, all that were definitely used. And one thing that gets me as well is that one of the trailers shown in 2013, which is actually like heavily referenced in this case, it was actually shown with the words in-game footage on it, which I think was not the intention of them putting it there. I think it was supposed to be more along the lines of in-engine.
Yeah.
So, as in, this is from the actual game as it is now. But when people read in-game, of course, you think game would be, well, finished game, completed game. So you read in-game as that's what it's going to look like. But if you said in-engine or in-engine demo build or something like that, it's less, it's less vague, I think. So it's a bit of miscommunication there, and I think also mainly because, well, we as players don't understand how games are made.
See,
that's a big thing.
Sorry. When I see someone say like in-game footage, I don't take in the sort of, I know a lot of people take in the details and the beautifulness of graphics and things. When I read in-game footage, I assume that they mean it's the event that's happening in the game, the trailer or whatever that they're showing. So like, I'm pretty sure there were little clips of things like Geralt attacking the griffins and things like that. I then assume that they're going to put that in the game, and that's what they're talking about. It's the specific moment of the trailer that's happening is what they mean is in the game.
The term in-game footage, when a company deliberately, it's a deliberate choice to put an in-game footage into a trailer, and it's usually to show off the graphical capabilities, because otherwise you could do a cutscene of some sort. But if you pre-render. But the term, especially in racing games, you will see that a lot in every racing trailer, like actual in-game footage and stuff. It's because they want to show off the graphical capabilities. And the Witcher 3 trailer was definitely tailored towards that way, walking around the town. And they were really, well, focusing on really making a beautiful looking game, very highly detailed. That's why they used the term. I mean, you don't need in-game footage to explain that this is going to happen in the game. That is usually assumed, I feel. Yeah.
Yeah,
I lost my train of thought there, but I think you know what I meant.
Yeah, I think it definitely is a choice of use of words there or rather choice use of words that could have maybe caused this whole problem. Like I said earlier, if they had just said something like this is demo build and make it very clear that this is not representative of the final game, would have been settled. But because that interpretation exists, that people could say that it's the final game. Yeah,
people would still have been upset if you put there like not actual game footage. First of all, people would be confused, like what is this? If you engine footage, the normal gamer doesn't really understand between engine footage and game footage. I mean, they would still assume like, oh, this is the game. They see a game, you see Geralt walking there through the town. How would you think it's not going to be in the game? They're still going to look at the trailer, and the trailer's still marketing something. So just because you put like a little disclaimer that there's like, like we take no responsibility at all, that doesn't really work in that term.
Yeah, I get where you're going with that now.
It's a lawyer thing. Like you put something in front to save yourself. It's not really helping you that much because people are still going to assume that the game looks like
Yeah.
And it is confusing because there are 2 years in between. It's very deliberate. If you, after 2 years, you would expect after 2 years to even look better in a way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not worse.
You'd think there'd be improvement, not
Exactly. Deliberate
can't think of it.
downgrade.
yeah.
I-
I wanted to avoid downgrade. I can't. Yeah,
It
I
is
don't-
really
a
don't-
downgrade. I mean, they've been saying that in the was it the Eurogamer article, the one where he's interviewing him. They said it was a downgrade. They had to do that because the game was not working as they intended in that scope. So they had to downgrade it. It was just not communicated because that makes for a horrible press release. We're gonna downgrade the game because it doesn't really work as we intended it to. It's like it doesn't really sales, does it?
As
At least they would have been honest.
yeah, as
Gamers
somebody
like
who,
honesty.
yeah, we do. As somebody who experienced some of the worst releases of 2014, I think I'd much rather have my game work and not look as good as it possibly, as extremely as it could or whatever, than have it broken and look pretty.
And gamers don't
Personally.
like honesty. I gotta disagree with that. I mean, some gamers like honesty, but you really think if you have a release and say this game is gonna look really bad because we're gonna cater to console players, that's why we're gonna downgrade the game to one level so everyone has the same experience. But we could do so much better. We just have to limit it. I think that the PC gamers would be really happy about that. I would say, like, why are you not giving me a really extended graphical version and just downgrade the console gamer? And the console gamers are angry because reasons. That's
just
to make the
angry.
consoles look bad, pretty much, and that the publishers don't want that. Developers, what is it called? Sony, Microsoft, they don't want that. They don't want anything like, we're gonna downgrade the game because consoles suck. That's not gonna happen. So
Yeah.
No, but it's better than just sweeping it all under the carpet and waiting till release to be like, yeah, we kind of did this. Sorry, guys, you kind of paid for it now, but you know you can deal with that. That's great. You do that.
Ubisoft swept it under the carpet by saying,
I
giving
know.
some really BS reasons for that. It was really
Yeah.
ridiculous. CD
But
Projekt
I-
is like half honest.
I think I look at it as it's a sort of damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of situation, because
Yeah.
once they found out that, yeah, alright, we can make the game look like this in the trailer, we definitely can do that. In the engine, it's possible. Like, that's what it means. It's possible. We're capable of doing that. And then find out, well, there isn't hardware that runs that, so we can't ship it in that way. So, I mean, it would be a situation where we made it look like it did in the trailers and go, well, you're gonna need two 980s, you're gonna need the fastest i7, you're gonna need massively high specs. And they already did say that at the beginning, too. PC gamers are going to need high specs to run this game well at high graphics and so on. And then you've got things like NVIDIA Hairworks and all of that, which are a huge part of the actual graphical detail. Things like fur and hair only work with Hairworks, so don't have an NVIDIA card, you're also just as screwed. So
Yeah.
it's really in that situation where they had so much riding on not just technology, but also on hardware that wasn't present in people's homes. So
Exactly.
the downgrade had to happen. And there was
That's
nothing
a
they could
s-
say to kind of mitigate that before launch, I think. So now it's kind of like damage control might be the better option. It looks like that's what they're
Yeah.
going for.
I mean, that is pretty much what happens to a lot of games. It boils down to money, boils down to sales. And I'm not blaming a developer at all for that, and so should nobody. They have detailed lists, and when I say detailed, I mean like really finely grained list of how many sales they can. They will predict sales based on the hardware specs of your game. If you say our game is going to require a 980 to run smooth, or like minimum, let's say minimum graphics card requirement. If you say we do minimum graphics card requirement in 970 for a really beautiful game, and 970 is a pretty high-end card right now, you would cut so many sales. You would lose
Yeah.
so many sales because you'd be surprised. I mean, I don't really look at specs because I have a high-end system, but people look at specs, and if they see my graphics card is too bad for this, I can't get it because I would just be frustrated. They're not buying it. So they look at it, oh, okay, if we downgrade one version further, if we support a little bit lower-end hardware, we're going to make so many more sales. And there's a reason Blizzard games are not always like top of the line graphically, because they want to support as many systems as possible to take as many sales as possible.
Yeah.
Many games release with that mindset. Civilization 5, people have been upset that looked not as good as it could but they wanted to support their players that are not having the insane. Remember, a 970, 980 did not cost as much as a console. That is quite the investment for a game. So that is why they downgrade. It boils down to money, and supporting so many graphic levels, like really supporting a bad one and a fantastic one, is just so much more resources that you're going to put into the game. So I'm just trying to explain it in a way. Yeah.
Yeah, and actually that ties in.
Money.
It does tie into that what was said in the Eurogamer article as well, that when they asked did console versions versus PC version, because we are still talking about hardware, so you got to factor in there is a console market, and yes, sorry PC gamers, although we like our PCs, we're not the biggest share of the market either. So
no, we're not.
What he actually came out and straight up said is that if consoles were not involved, there'd be no Witcher 3 because they couldn't afford it, and neither could they afford to put the team through developing 3 different builds for Xbox, PS4, and PC. So they had to make one that works on all platforms, and unfortunately that meant a downgrade. I think it's a really good case of, the developer coming clean and being as transparent as they possibly could after the fact. Yes, there were some things they could have done to kind of mitigate that confusion at the beginning, but in the end, I think just, look, the game looks great right now anyway. Like, it looks...
It does.
It looks...
It could be worse. Does.
Yeah, it could be a lot worse. I'm not sure. How does it look on console compared to PC? Because I've only played the PC version. Foxy, I think you were playing it on the PS4, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's not bad. I mean, I'm quite happy with it, and I mean, I'm going to carry on recording it. I've recorded 1 session already, and I did mention little bits like, oh, this doesn't look as good as I thought, but it's still a good game. And I mean, the story is the main. Well, to me, the story is the main thing that I'm interested in anyway. I heard like. You're all going to shame me now because of this, but I haven't played the other Witcher games because I wasn't that into consoles back then. And nothing really took my fancy. I mean, Skyrim was the major one that I played before I even got interested into PS3. I didn't even have PS3 back then, and then now I've moved on to PS4. And hearing about it and hearing that it's like a little bit of a mix of Skyrim, Game of Thrones, and there was another one that it was compared to as well. I was like, hell, this sounds right up my street. Gonna get that. I mean, that's all I care about, and it's so far it's living up to its expectation. I mean, I've only played an hour of it, but I'm liking it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the same. I'm 10 minutes in, or 15 minutes in rather. I basically, without giving away too much, I'm past the first scene at the tavern. I'm past that bit, so there's that. I've died twice now.
15 minutes in. Oh my god.
Yeah,
in the tavern.
Not in the tavern, but after that.
Oh, yeah.
Because, actually, one thing about the game is that it does have this autopilot thing that the horse does, which is really useful, but I ran straight into a really high-leveled enemy, and I'm not going to say where it is, but anybody who's run into it, it's just outside of the first town. If you've run into it, you know what I'm talking about. There's no way you'll kill it. Absolutely no way.
Died there, too.
And, yeah, that was the first. The second one was actually, I think
and then...
Yeah, no, I think I just fell off something for the second one, so...
Just jumped off a cliff. I don't want to play this anymore.
I'm done.
I don't know, I think as gamers, I think we need to accept that maybe games aren't gonna look super fantastic all the time, and maybe they'll work instead. I'm okay with this. I mean, I don't know. I'm not saying...
gameplay?
Yeah. I'm more interested, mostly now after 2014, of course, I'm more interested in gameplay than anything else. I want my games to be fun. I don't know, I mean, I like seeing Assassin's Creed Unity. I played about 15 minutes of that because I got sick from the frame rate, literally sick to my stomach after playing that. I'm like, I don't want to play this. I mean, sure, that's right, it runs like crap, and it's probably not all that fun, to be honest. So
Unity was fun. It's a good game. The problem is really the console ports and the disaster PC launch. I mean, that was really
they're
not building a case for them.
Talk about that.
I was playing it on, I think, PS4, and it was running horribly. I mean, I don't know how. I've never seen a console game that runs like shit.
It wasn't that bad. I played it on PS4 as well. It wasn't the absolute worst, but it had frame drops to like 15 frames per second. Yes, I agree. But it was not the absolute worst that people made it out to be. I
mean, I played it at the very day one, so that probably had something to do with it. It was really
it might have been that, yeah. Because
Yes.
to be honest, I've got the same experience with Bloodborne at the moment. Oh, well, not now, but when I first started playing it, yeah, it was. I mean, frame rate was, I guess, a bit steadier, but loading times and the random frame drops. Like, it's not so much low frame rate; it's just occasionally the frames would just crash completely, going from 30. Yes, it runs in 30, down to about 10. At the worst times, like when a big monster comes out, for example. Best time to go at 10 frames per second.
Yeah.
I don't I don't know. At the very first day, of course, it's probably much better by now, and I'm sure it's a decent game now or whatever. But I couldn't play it. It was so bad. It was sickening. Like levels. It was. They
really
bad.
rushed the process.
Yeah, it was as bad as people said it was, at least on day one, and maybe a week after that or something like that. It was pretty bad. I don't know how they
shouldn't have released two games on the same day. I feel they should have maybe pushed them apart a little bit.
That also seems like a bad marketing strategy, because then that's just like you're just flooding the market, and that's not good for business, right? If I'm
they should have paced themselves a little bit with that.
Yeah.
How many people can actually afford to buy two $40 to $60 games in one day? I mean, some people, if you're lucky, sure, but otherwise it's like, you win or lose, and then people that actually picked Unity to play, they're feeling, let down.
Yeah,
it wasn't actually that bad. It was actually quite good. Enjoyed it.
Oh, good. Okay.
Just a little short, but yeah, it was fun. But before I forget my thought, that's an important thing that CD Projekt announced. They're going to work on The Witcher until 2016, 17. I think they wouldn't announce new because they're going to focus on Witcher 3 for the next years. That's not only DLC, that also means improvements, graphical improvements, as they're doing right now. And that's what people also kind of should take into consideration, that because the game has been an incredibly successful launch. I mean, that was one of the most successful games in recent times so far. They have the capital, they have the time to improve on the game, and I don't know how. Maybe it's gonna be a thing. Who knows? You're gonna probably see some E&B mods anyway. If you really want to ramp up the graphics, but I think we're gonna see a much more beautiful game in the course of the next months.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to that, because I think that could definitely on PC. It's something that can be done. I mean, after all, now you've got people high-end PCs who have a game that's not using that hardware. Now they can actually ramp it up to the point where they can actually get the fidelity they wanted. So yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to that when it happens.
You have a full team that now is dedicated to improving the game after it has been launched. People want to be upset again, like, why didn't you do that beforehand? Because it's expensive, people. It's boiling down to money. And people need to realize that, because the game is not an art project that 10 people sit in their basement and make for fun and live at home like that. No, this is a big company with, I don't know, CD Projekt has like 70 employees. Not entirely sure how big CD Projekt is. That's a lot of money per month. A month. That would be really expensive. So,
yeah. Bottom line, they not just have to break even, they got to have the money after that to really fund it. I want to move it along, if I may, to the next topic as well. I've got both my co-hosts have actually got topics that they want to talk about. So I think, Foxy, if you want to bring yours in first.
Yeah. Right. I'll just bring up the article because it's a lot easier to talk about it that way. Basically, I just wanted to talk about the fact that H1Z1 cheaters are now actually allowed to get unbanned if they publicly apologize for what they've done. Basically, there's been a lot of controversy around it because, obviously, decades and decades of gaming, people have found out ways to cheat, and it ruins the experience for most other players that don't decide to cheat. Which, I mean, you can see it as either making the game more fun, because the only games that I've ever cheated on would be GTA San Andreas, where you can make tanks fly and things like that, which is not causing anyone else any damage, and Sims. I'm quite willing to admit that I've cheated plenty on Sims because you've got unlimited resources and stuff. But
single player is different from multiplayer.
Exactly, yeah. But it does make the games a lot more fun. But when it comes to massively multiplayer games, it's a different story because you're affecting all the other hundreds of players that are on the servers. Basically, this H1Z1 is a survival zombie game. Quite similar to oh my god,
Daisy.
my brain's gone dead. Yeah, Daisy. I had Day in my head. I couldn't think of the rest of it. Yeah, quite similar to that. So you go around basically creating your weapons, trying to survive the night with zombies around and things like that. So you have to survive not only the other players, but the zombies and the environment as well.
I like that you said players first.
Yeah, players are
That's what it boils down to. It's the players are more dangerous than the zombies.
They are. They're a lot more dangerous. I mean, you've got someone sitting there playing, knowing exactly how to counteract other players coming in and invading their areas. That sounds almost rude, but I won't go there. But NPCs are a lot easier to tackle. After a while, I mean, you just get used to the way they work. So let's see an example. Well, one of the executives, John Smedley, as I mentioned earlier, before the podcast started, he tweeted saying, "Why do these dumbasses keep using TM cheats? Have you people not figured out that we can ban you all?" And basically, in one day, 23,000 people got banned in one day because they were just like, right, I'm gonna flick the switch. So yeah, they then decided that they were going to basically allow people to come back to the game and be unbanned if they publicly apologize. So the cheaters have been given the option to record themselves publicly apologizing for what they did, why they're sorry, and then they send their video to the game executives, and then they get to choose whether they post it and unban them. So far, 3 people have been unbanned, and one they've decided they might actually reban because they made their apology private on YouTube. So yeah, one of them says, I was recently banned in H1Z1 for cheating. I frequently used TMC, a cheat program, to avoid enemy players, and ultimately I was cheating, and I paid the price for it with an account that I put $200 into. Buying stuff out of the crates, the crate keys. I even upgraded the collector's edition of the game. It definitely sucks that I lost my account. I'd like to take this public forum... Oh, sorry, I'd like to take this... Yeah, it's... Okay, that's just really bad English. My bad. I'd like to take this public forum to apologise to all the players that I negatively impacted their gameplay with, and to Daybreak for kind of ruining the game experience for other players. Know that I will not be cheating again because that cost me about $260. Again, I'm really sorry. I felt it was necessarily, but fortunately, it bit me in the ass. Cheers. That's word for word, like reading their little
That was right.
That was quite rough.
I watched that one.
Yeah, and then
Yeah, sorry, keep going. I don't want to interrupt you. My bad.
No, it's okay. No, it's okay.
I watched the fourth one, and I saw the reactions. I was following this very closely because it popped up on my Twitter feed, and then I was watching the video and the comments below it. And I didn't like this apology personally because he was making about the money. Like, this is a game that I spent $200 for, and I was avoiding players, and then it bit me in the ass, and I would like to get unbanned from the game that I spent $200, heavily implying that he bought things and therefore is entitled. It was apology, but the whole apology thing, I think it was a good idea, to be honest, personally.
Yeah, I like the idea that people get a chance to explain themselves and go into why they did it. But like you said, I totally agree. It sounded like it was all about the money, and he didn't actually care that he cheated. He just wanted to get back what he paid into it, which isn't right. I probably would have turned around and been like, no.
Yeah, go fuck yourself.
You don't care. You don't care that you ruined it for everyone else.
Yeah.
I mean, it's actually a good point as well, because there have been a lot of multiplayer games with cheats, and we've known this for a long time, and multiplayer experience is dependent on it being relatively cheat-free. I mean, everybody gets a level playing field. It's fun, you know? I mean, yes, there are people who find cheating to be their way of having fun. Let's be honest, yeah, there are people who do think that way. And, well, I mean, we've all been in multiplayer gaming for long enough to know what it's like to have, you know, to be unfairly killed, whether it's by a glitch or whether it was by somebody cheating. I mean, way back when I used to play Counter-Strike, this is not Counter-Strike Source, Counter-Strike Go, which people are familiar with. This is back in Half-Life 1 era, Counter-Strike 1.6. So that was the place where I started multiplayer gaming, and cheating was rife down there because most of the servers eventually became, well, you know, people privately owned their own servers and played off that instead. So it eventually became a scene where there was very little cheat protection. It became more and more just you get what you're given. You play on whatever server you can get and hope that nobody aimbots or something when you're playing. That's really all you could hope for. So seeing something being done about cheating actually makes me pretty happy as well. I mean, not just the bans and stuff like that, but trying to actually actively grow a community and make it more friendly, I suppose, in a way, by getting rid of cheaters and getting them to kind of reform in a way, I guess, is what they might be going for. So it's nice. It's good to see. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, it's just nice for people to feel like something's being done about it, rather than just numerous tickets being sent in reporting cheaters and then just nothing being done about it. Because in a lot of ways, it just puts people off. They're like, well, fine, if there's nothing going to be done about this, if I'm constantly being almost victimized, because GTA Online, there are hundreds and hundreds of people cheating in servers.
That
it's just
actually
unfair.
ties in right to what my article is about. It's like cheaters are making it so like they drop cheat money, basically cheated in game money onto people, and they pick it up. They have no real choice in the matter, and then they get banned for having cheated in money. So it's like really bad in GTA Online right now.
Yeah.
I think it's just multiplayer experience again on any game is just so dependent on that environment, being cheat free. But yeah,
I think going back also. Yeah, that was a that was somewhat of a public stunt, and that really helped get H1Z1 back into the news, because H1Z1 kind of like faded, not existence, that's the wrong word, but kind of like after the initial hype just went a little bit down under, just like pretty much DayZ did. The standalone version, a lot of people bought it at release, were unhappy, stopped playing. I don't even know where DayZ is standing right now, if they still have zombies walking through walls, but H1Z1 called like Cheat1Z1 because it was really bad, and it took him surprisingly long to actually address the whole cheating issue. If you see when it was released, which was a few months ago at this point, and he just now actually like banned a whole lot of players. It took him quite some time, and a lot of people were getting frustrated, so I think the apology thing, which is also only a limited thing for one day. People are like, oh, I'm gonna let all the cheaters. It was 4 people now, and it's already expired the offer, so people should calm themselves. But it was a publicity thing, and I think it was great if it's gonna help reform a community or anything. I don't think you're gonna be able to change people's opinion about cheating. They know that they're affecting players. People that cheat are aware of the fact that they're ruining the game for someone. I don't want to say they don't care, but I think they don't care, or it's an intention. Like they're just trolls out there. They're people that love the fact that they can enrage people, or troll people, or just don't give a damn. They just do it.
They just enjoy it. Yeah,
they just enjoy it. Or there are people legitimately, I think the second apology or the third one was talking about that he was getting so frustrated with the game, he started cheating himself, which I could relate to. If it wasn't,
that was something that I wanted to read out. Actually, I wanted to read out the second one to show the other side of it, which is perfect. It ties in brilliantly. Basically, he was getting so sick of people cheating that he turned to cheating, basically to get back at the cheaters. His apology basically says, I got banned for cheating in H1Z1. My explanation, I got tired of all the no-clippers and speed hackers and aimbotters and everyone running around. After 600 hours in the game, I really felt like I had no other option. It's not a justification, merely an explanation. I'm sorry for anybody in the community who I may have ruined the experience for. It's definitely much more entertaining to play without. It's an advantage, but no fun. Hopefully anyone that sees the ban... Oh my god, sorry, it's just their spelling mistakes. Hopefully anyone that sees the ban wave, you'll see that Daybreak takes cheating seriously. You should just avoid it. You risk losing your account like I did. And then it just continues from there pretty much, and just as a warning. But he gives his reason as to why he turned to it.
I can actually understand that. Like, cheaters are probably one of the most frustrating things to deal with, and when you feel like nothing's being done about it, well, there's no other real option other than to cheat back. That's the way it feels like, anyways. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
leave the game. That is optional. You can leave the game, but I understand if people don't want to leave a game that they spend a lot of money and time in.
Yeah. I mean, it highlights a game. I guess maybe a game design issue as well, because you see the same thing with games that have pay to skip options Like,
Oh.
back when I was playing World of Tanks, you know, sometimes when a new premium tank comes out and nobody knows how to kill it, people get very frustrated because they feel this thing is overpowered and everybody started using it and, well, maybe I should get one. That's the general feeling. It's like, if you can spend the money, you start feeling like, maybe I should.
They
Yeah.
monetize during money. I can understand the decision where you have something powerful and sell it to players. Everyone can buy it, and it is... People are going to be upset if their game they assume is completely free to play because nobody needs to eat. All of a sudden requires the money to pay to be a little bit better, or to keep up. It's frustrating, but that is how free-to-play games work. Sorry, we're steering off course. One thing that I had in mind is there was controversy about the unbanning, and the videos that I remember was first of all, there's a saying, once a cheater, always a cheater, and H1Z1 devs, including John Smedley, they have a video, actually quite a funny video of people sending in letters, mails, explaining why they cheated and apologizing, and they were ridiculing them, reading out loud the explanations like, maybe one of my, I'm sharing my account with my three brothers, maybe one of them was it. Or my personal favorite, I was gone on vacation for 2 weeks, and when I came home, everything was burglarized and all my online accounts were hacked. And silly apologies like that. They were ridiculing them, and especially John Smedley's like, once a cheater, always a cheater. And rearing back on that made a weird impression. It didn't really feel like you can allow people to apologize and let them back in, and at the same time say, once a cheater, always a cheater.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can
That's a little
understand that
weird.
as well.
What's your thought on once a cheater, always a cheater? I think, yeah, no.
I don't
think
think so.
Yeah, I
I
don't
think people can
necessarily
change.
agree with it either. I mean,
It depends on the person.
Yeah.
Okay, there are, like I said earlier, there are people who genuinely get entertainment out of how they can break the game for somebody else, be it cheating, be it griefing in some form or whatsoever. There are also people who want to possibly win the game by getting to, whatever score they can by cheating as well. There are many reasons why people cheat, and I think also because there are many reasons people cheat, there are many reasons why they might not cheat as well. Like, if you really enjoy the game and want to play through it, even as a cheater, you might not cheat for one playthrough or something like that. I don't agree with the idea that you can broad stroke the entire, even, I suppose, the cheaters community, by saying that they're all the same, that they're all going to cheat one way or another. There are maybe a percentage of that group that might be like that, but I don't believe that everybody is like that. It's too general to really say it, I guess. Coming from him in that position, especially after having said, yeah, you can publicly apologize and we'll unban you, and then say something like that, it's a bit... It's
harsh.
It doesn't add up together with what he's trying to go for, I think.
Yeah, you can't. I don't think you can broad stroke really any community at all, because it just doesn't work. Really?
I think it doesn't apply in life in general. I think you can just
Yeah, really.
people.
Yeah.
It doesn't. Yeah.
I mean, for all you know, one aimbot is using a different program.
There's this thing on Steam, or Valve does it, the Valve anti-cheat system. When you once get a ban, it will be a record in your public profile. I remember a friend, another YouTuber, I'm not going to mention his name because then they were like, oh, he's a cheat. I don't know what he did, but he had a ban, which is like a year ago. And he's actually a pretty decent player in Counter-Strike Go, and he's been, playing very well without cheating. I don't know why he got that ban once, but he has this on record. And now he has a problem that, at a game he plays, and when he plays well, people are going to look on his profile like, oh, you've been cheated once, you must be cheating again. Mm-hmm. And it is a weird situation. It's a little bit like a sexual offender, and on some registry, some lists, and people can look you up, and it's going to ruin your gaming experience.
1 second.
I think the way VAC bans work is if you have it just detects modified files. I think. Yeah, so it might not necessarily be cheating, but
I think it was something like that.
Yeah,
I think we might be thinking of the same person here, Weasel, but of course I'm not going to say who. there was a period in time, I think it's not the case anymore, but in a period in time where things like E and B mods and so on that had these DLL hooks, I think it's what it's called, were detected as cheats. And people did get marked because of that. And there are some games that if you have any record in VAC, prevent you from playing, I think it was. I think that's maybe how they found out about it. I'm not sure. But there were some cases where it was used for other things beyond just being a record there. So it does affect your gameplay experience permanently, more or less. And it was at a period of time where things were different. It's a tricky situation because on one hand you've got that stigma, and then on the other hand, anything you buy could potentially be screwed because of your record as well. And of course, none of this, I think it's permanent, more or less, right? There's no way to remove a strike?
No, it is permanent. It's on your profile. You can make your profile private and then nobody can see it, but that also, again, arises suspicion because people are like, why is the profile private? Are you hiding something?
Yeah.
Tell us.
I think Rockstar has a similar system right now because everybody's heard about GTA mods and how you really can't go into multiplayer when you have them installed because a similar thing will happen where you'll probably get banned because anything with a DLL, basically, anything with a DLL will get flagged. Essentially,
I understand that decision. I mean, I'm absolutely for it.
I do too, honestly, but it's certainly something you don't want to mess around with because, as we know from our friend who will not be named, whoever he or she is, that isn't fun.
Yeah, it's annoying.
I think actually this was happening before the PC version, and everyone was saying, GTA on PC is going to be full of hackers. It's part of the reason why I think the majority of Call of Duty players are also on console instead of PC, because there is that hacking possibility is a lot stronger. And, well, I think, three of us here have been in the situation before where there was a modified game on a console in GTA 5. In GTA Online, for that matter, and that was on PlayStation 3. So it did happen back then, and it is game-breaking. I think, what was it that happened? Frame drops and then everybody crashed. That's pretty much what happened. So,
I've also had ones in races where they'll spawn in gigantic meteor rocks and stuff, and then they'll spawn in a UFO or something, and apparently one of those, I think it was a UFO, has the possibility to infect your PS3 and kill it. Or do something really crappy with it. It's bad. It was really bad.
Lovely.
Yeah, isn't it great?
I remember when we were doing a certain race, and then suddenly you just lose control of your car, like literally, like somebody else was driving it. It would just make you crash, and you had no control over it. You couldn't do anything, and it's quite disturbing, actually.
Yeah, it's freaky.
So, I mean, I can understand why they would want to allow mods and at the same time not allow them. Like, for example, single player. Look at the GTA 4 modding scene. I mean, it's huge, and it's part of the reason GTA 4 is still really popular right now.
Yeah, but it was not officially supported. Here's a big thing that I don't necessarily like about the... I mean, what pretty much happened is that people have to modify the base game. They have to go in and change the actual game, the whole game, for that. They have to change DLLs or graphics, whatever. And this version is not separate from the multiplayer version because everything is using the same asset. Half-Life, for example, one of the first games that really supported modding, the original Half-Life, had a different system for that in place where you had a folder, a mod folder, and then you could change to that folder with the game. And then the Half-Life knew, currently I'm using a mod with all these modded files, so you didn't have to modify the base game. And that's what modded games what games should do. And publishers and developers kind of just, it's still beyond me how Rockstar thought that nobody would mod their game. They were encrypting files, but it took a few days to actually get into the game, and now we have grappling hooks and all kinds of stuff in GTA. I don't understand why they wouldn't add mod support, which would alleviate the issue of someone modified a single-player game, but if you go online, it's going to be banned. Problematic because you have two separate versions. So if one goes online with a modified version, you can already, like, that's not legit. Kick him out.
I don't Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to point out one thing about on that point about Rockstar as well. I do remember reading this, and don't quote me on it because I don't remember exactly where I saw this, but there was talk of a modding sort of a SDK or something coming out in the future, somewhere along the lines for the PC version. Now, my thinking is, if that is going to happen, maybe that's the reason the files are encrypted now, so that at such time when Rockstar is like, okay, you can mod, then they'll start changing things to make it more mod friendly, I guess. But at the same time, I see the problem with it, not being separate installations. After all, I mean, I used to be doing modding for Command & Conquer, and knowing the problems associated with doing things with your vanilla build, the original build, you can really screw things up and then not have something to go on with. So not separating the single player and the online, that's where that problem's going to come in as well. Because I think people were saying as well, don't connect to the internet while playing single player with mods installed. And so it's that sort of situation, because it's all not separated, then you really run this really big risk by just playing with the mods at this stage.
But as Rockstar to go in there and say, like, well, we're not going to allow mods from the beginning, or people going to mod, it's just absolutely, I don't know where they would put the idea that people would not hack their game to mod it. I mean, we've seen it with GTA 4, which did not have official mod support, and it took them way longer to crack it, though. It took them quite some time to actually get into GTA 4, but they had all of this information now to get into GTA 5, and it took them a few days to get in there. And they must have been thinking, like, oh, they're not going to get in there. It's going to be great. No mods, nobody modifies our game. It was done so quickly. And I'm pretty sure someone must have known that this was going to happen.
I think so. I mean,
not do anything about it.
I think so, because GTA 4's modding community was huge, and that kept the game alive for a very, very long time. That's something that's hard to ignore, I would think, as a company. Yeah,
they ignored it. They just... I don't understand why they didn't add mod support right off the start.
It still doesn't make sense to me that
the game was sold. The story was over. There was nothing new about the story that someone could have spoiled or whatever. I don't understand it.
Not a clue. I mean, it's not like it had been out for a while on console anyway, so.
We can just go back to that old fallacy argument. Maybe they've got something to hide.
Yeah, right.
Well, you never know. I mean, maybe it's encrypted for a reason that they don't want us to know. But ultimately, I look at it like, they should have expected this, and maybe the encryption is there as a delay measure, but I guess it didn't work.
It helps against cheaters as well. If you encrypt your files, you're not going to be as easy to actually create cheats and mods for that stuff. But that's why you add modding support. You can distinguish between mod and hack.
Yeah,
that is. And it ties back into what we were saying about VACs as well, because it detected early mods as hacks too. So there you go again, why these things need to be separated, I guess. Alright, we're going to take our first break here, and when we return, we'll begin with our second segment. So don't go anywhere. Hello and welcome back to the IHOG Podcast. And this is the second segment of the show where we will be talking about the deals of the week. Yes, this is the section where we talk about what we've seen on sale, on discount, wherever it is on the internet, and why we think it's a good deal. So, of course, this podcast goes up on Friday. So, these deals, if they end on Friday, well, you have from the time you see this video to the end of the day to guess it. So, good luck. Alright, so I think I'll kick this one off with a game deal, actually. So, the game I've chosen to pick is... interesting choice of words. Guns of Icarus Online is currently going 75% off, and it ends on the 29th of May. That is Friday. So, that is $375 US, I believe, and whatever your regional equivalent is. But it's a good game, like, it's a really team-focused game, so I guess if you weren't going to get it at $15, then at least now you have an excuse to buy it together with all your friends, or buy it for your friends and make them play it with you.
Yeah, buy 2 copies. Get one for your friend, to your friend, and your friend. Wait until the deal is over, and then give it to your friend so he thinks you really spent a lot of money on a game and he really likes you then.
That's what I do all the time, I mean.
Yeah. buy it cheap and gift it later, and they're like, "Wow, thank you so much. You just bought me a game." Wow.
Yeah.
Perfect. But of course, I think currently there's a brand deal or something that's just ended for Guns of Icarus. So if you want to check out what Guns of Icarus is like, of course, you can go and find some videos on YouTube of some pretty nice looking multiplayer action actually from the Polaris people.
It is pretty fun, especially with friends. Especially with friends, when you get into it, it's chaotic. It's just fun, yelling at each other.
It's also a good way of breaking friendships when you shout at each other too much. So
Yes,
enjoy.
yes.
It's like Monopoly of the air with guns and explosions.
No, I think
it's a good way to make friendships as well, because I mean, if you go in there and decide to play on your own, you actually have to work as a team, so you end up meeting new people online, which can be either a good thing or a bad thing depending on who you meet.
Yeah. I'd say don't go in there expecting to make friends, but you know, it's good if it happens along the way.
Yeah. Go in there
It's a good
expecting
game,
to be
definitely.
I will say though, be warned if you're going to get it on your own, because it doesn't have a huge multiplayer community, so just be aware of that. It's got a good multiplayer community, like it is actually a very nice community to be in, but yeah, there isn't a heck of a lot of people playing, so don't go in there expecting to be able to play it on your own all the time. So yes, like I said, buy it for your friends and force them to play with you. It's a perfect option. Alright, and Condor, I believe you have a deal that you'd like to talk about.
I do. I would like to talk about two things, actually. One is Tomb Raider pack on GreenManGaming. It's 75% off. It's down from $117 to $29.47, which is US dollar. And I mean, it's, what can I say? It's, as far as I can tell, all of the Tomb Raider games, including the 2011 reboot. I think it was 2011, yes. Which is, in my opinion, a pretty damn good game. So I enjoyed it. So yeah, if you want to see what Tomb Raider is all about, go buy that. And then the other is Sleeping Dogs, which is also 75% off, down from $30 to $7.50, and it is a lot of fun. It's a game that I would recommend highly because it's just so underrated. It's got a great story. The combat is great. The controls, everything handles well. It's really good.
Gotta agree with you there on the combat, actually. Like, it's got that really nice. I mean, it's brawling, but it's so fluid, and it's got a nice rhythm to it. And of course, you know, the setting being in Hong Kong, there's not a lot of guns, so you find yourself doing a lot of hand-to-hand stuff, and it's really engaging. Like, imagine great. GTA, but without as much focus on the guns, and you suddenly have to get that hand-to-hand going. Really quite nice.
Just fisticuffs.
It really is. And we're talking about, like, you know, flying kicks and, well, occasionally putting people's faces into various objects.
Oh, it's so great. Throwing a guy into, like, a fan, shoving his head through, like, a ventilation fan is the best thing. Or impaling him with the swordfish. That's another great thing.
Although, I gotta admit, the swordfish thing is kind of funny. Yeah,
it's hilarious.
Where's the flish slapping dance when you need it? What was the first one? Tomb Raider pack, right? I'm just having a look at the GreenManGaming page where it's on right now, and I've noticed the reboot is the one at the top because it's the only one without a number.
Yeah.
Titling issues. Yeah, so go and check out those deals before the day ends. Weasel, I believe you had an interesting one to talk about.
Oh yes, actually have headphones to talk about, being a little bit of a headphone aficionado myself. Currently Amazon.com, so this is the US, has, I don't know about other stores, but they have the Sennheiser headphones currently on sale, pretty much all of them, and two that I really like is the 85.8, which is usually around $180. It's now at $115, which is a very good high-end headset for not a super high-end price. So it is quite the investment, but you don't feel it. It feels really good. I had it for roughly 1.5 years. Really enjoyed it. It's a really good headset. And they also have the 598, which is pretty much a version above it for $150 instead of $320. Why I chose those two. First of all, it's a good deal. in general. I would still go for the 558, which is the cheaper one for $115, because you can mod this thing actually and take out a little bit of foam in the earphones. It's not very complicated, and it gives it a very similar sound to the actual pricier version. But since the pricier version is currently cheaper than the cheaper version on sale, I would go for that. And yeah, in other stores, usually Sennheisers are cheaper. And as a German, I felt I had the need to promote this German company. They make really good headsets. They make really good audio equipment. Sennheiser's really great company if you're looking for quality audio and looking for a new headset without microphone, then this is the way to go. If you're looking for something with microphone, can't get it.
You're on your own.
Yes. But it's definitely worth noting that you can mod the 558, the cheap versions, very easily to sound really good.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Now, a lot of people underestimate, the importance of good sound quality, because especially in games, sound is a huge part of the immersion factor. And I've been noticing it more and more now that I've got like a decent set of. I would say these are the best. I mean, these are Steel Series Elite Prisms. So as far as gaming headsets go, these are pretty good. But
yeah,
the better sound quality you can get, the more the more effect all of that good sound design in games actually has. So yeah, don't underestimate a good headset, and get one with a good deal too. Yeah.
Yeah, you're also gonna. The comfort factor is really big with the headphones. That's something you should not underestimate. I mean, as great as sound can be, if they don't feel comfortable, you're not going to be happy. And especially with the Sennheiser, since, as you can see, I'm wearing glasses. Right now, I'm not having a Sennheiser. I'm having a Toyo, which is also German. But with the Sennheisers, you can wear things you won't even know they're there. And all my friends that I recommended them to, they love them. They're really good. So if you have a little bit of extra paying money and looking for a new headset without microphone, that is, go for that.
I've got to say the 598s look really nice. They look really vintage, which you don't tend to get with headsets nowadays. They tend to look, mainly futuristic looking and sleek and stuff, but they look really comfy and nice and vintage, like 1940s radio.
They have the same drivers as I said, the 558. The difference is actually in the there's a little bit of something to the bass. I'm not that knowledgeable, but they look really nice. So if you like the look, I mean, right now is the time to go for them. They're half off. That's a really good deal. It's a really good deal, guys.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like one. Actually, talking about German brands as well, I'm just looking over at my case, because I got a new PC case as well recently. And I believe that this is actually a German brand as well. I mean, it could be wrong about that.
What is it called?
Charcoon, I think it is.
Kuhn. I don't even know.
I don't know. When I opened the manual, it just had the letters GmbH at the end of it. I'm not sure.
Oh, yeah, that's German company. It's like LLC.
Yeah, because I recognized that from when I was in Germany a while back, and yeah, I was like, that sounds like a German company. Yeah, just
they are
throwing that out there. Yeah, and anyway, if anyone's looking for a case, Charcoon T28, it's now a little bit old, so it's dropped in price quite a lot, and it's still a really good case. Highly recommended. All right, and Foxy, your deals for this week?
Yes, heading back to gaming deals. Basically, I was having a little look on the PlayStation Store because I'm primarily PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4 person. They've got quite a good deal on the Assassin's Creed series at the moment. They've got basically half off on Assassin's Creed 3, Assassin's Creed Black Flag, and Assassin's Creed Unity and Rogue. Starting with Assassin's Creed 3, what have we got? It was $15.99 and it's now knocked down to £8 on PS3. I don't know what that'd be. That'd be about $12, something like that.
Roughly.
$12 US. Yeah. What have we got on Assassin's Creed Black Flag PS4? I did see it. Where are we going? There we go. Yeah, for Assassin's Creed Black Flag on the PS4, we've got it's £22.50 instead of $44.99. So that's another half off deal. And then it's roughly around the same sort of price for Assassin's Creed Unity as well. It used to be $54.99. It's now down to £27.50. So you're getting quite a good deal for that now as well, which is kind of good because they should have fixed a lot of stuff by now.
Yeah,
they have.
Yeah. So yeah, you got quite a few good deals there. I quite enjoyed Assassin's Creed 3. It was kind of a love or hate game for some people because it changed quite a lot from the typical European history, and it jumped to Native American, and with the French invading, I believe it was the French that was invading, collaborating, if you like, with the Americans. I quite liked it. I quite liked the fact that you could go climbing through trees instead of focusing on buildings and, going to typical town centre and climbing up the top of a town building, which kind of feels a bit samey after a while, but I really liked it. I liked learning about the Native Americans a little bit as well, throwing that culture in there. But yeah, I think Black Flag, words.
My favorite.
Black Flag is probably the most popular one, and yeah, for £22.50, roughly around, what, $32, $34? That's not too bad.
$33, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they're quite good deals, if you are a PlayStation person.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with Black Flag. I mean, yeah, the Assassin's Creed gameplay as such didn't really capture me, but Black Flag, the naval combat stuff, it's worth it just for that.
So good.
Like, I enjoy just sailing around, shooting and stuff. I don't think I've finished the game, mainly because I'm just sailing around all the time.
Yeah.
Apparently the story is really good of Black Flag. I was not a fan of the naval combat. I'm not afraid to admit that.
Well, I mean, to each their own.
Turn the heretic!
No, but I really enjoyed the naval stuff because it was very immersive to me. It's like you could go around singing, have your crew sing sea shanties while you.
Oh, sea shanties were actually.
Those were cool. I give you that. Those were.
Yeah, they were really cool.
Yeah, and I believe the naval combat stuff was primarily done in the Ubisoft Singapore studio, actually, according to the director that I met. Yeah, so represent. But yeah, Assassin's Creed Black Flag, it's a good game, actually. I think the only Assassin's Creed game that I really liked. But then I didn't get to play too much of the other ones. I played a little bit of the first one and a little bit of 3, but not much of it.
Apparently, if you like Black Flag, you're gonna really like Rogue for the. If you like Black Flag for the naval combat, you're gonna like Rogue because Rogue really starts you off instantly with a ship. That's the one that I played, and I liked Rogue. Black Flag, yeah, it was good. I wasn't crazy about that. That was just in both these games, the sailing, and many times because I wasn't focusing on naval combat, I wasn't super interested in it. It felt more like a chore to get from point A to point B and navigate around. So it felt like horse riding between point A and point B, and you've seen everything because the islands and whatnot is not so vastly different that it's really interesting to see. Once you've seen an island in the game, you've seen all the islands in the game or coastlines. So it was not as engaging. But it was a good game.
I felt that way about when playing the game. I felt that way, except the opposite about the actual Assassin's Creed stuff. I felt that was a chore for me. I enjoyed the naval combat. Everything else is like, but I want to go back to sailing a ship.
I heard that a lot.
No, yeah. I'm with Condor on that, but I think it's probably because we, at the moment, are lacking a lot of those really cinematic, kind of atmospheric pirate games at the moment. Like this, you don't get a lot.
Pirate games are there?
Yeah, it's kind of lacking in that department. We need more pirate games. Is what I'm saying.
We do.
I was about to say we're lacking cinematic pirate games. Like, are there actually other pirate games out there?
Well, there was that one. What was it called? Raven's Cry.
Well, they did a couple of Pirates of the Caribbean games as well on the 360. They might have done it on the PS3, but I didn't. I don't know much about them. I just know they exist.
Pixel piracy.
I gotta admit, I didn't like pixel piracy all that much.
Me neither.
Not a big fan.
Me neither.
I just
pirate games.
I just. I just want Ubisoft to go ahead and just make a friggin' pirate game already. Just focus on the ship stuff, because you know everybody loves it. Just don't make an Assassin's Creed, please. Just skip the Assassin's Creed stuff. For me, just do it for me, please.
Just for you.
Just for you. Although I would say that maybe eventually they might, once they look back at the data again, go, hey, why don't we do that?
I'd say that could be quite good. If they look through all of pirate lore and history and read up on all the stories and stuff like that and really stick to history, that could be kind of fun.
Yeah, I'd enjoy
That'd
that.
be
I mean,
good.
they're pretty good at the history stuff, I have to say. They're like, as somebody who's a history buff, I think they're pretty good at it. So,
There's
Oh.
zombies, there's ninja/samurais, and there's pirates. They always go. In games and everything, they always go. They're always popular.
yeah.
So, surprise! We have a lot of zombie games. We have and ninja games. I would say a few. I don't know if you would consider them that, but a few are out there definitely.
Mhm.
But no pirate games.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
Get your
right now.
shit together, game industry.
That might be the next future
Yeah,
trend.
man.
Yeah, why not? I mean, it's either that or dinosaurs, right?
Yeah, dinosaurs are also something that's quite popular.
Well,
There
Jurassic
are a
World
few
and stuff.
games. There are a few games. What was it called? 2 games recently. They're still early access, and one was quite disastrous. I forgot what they were called, but yeah.
Orion something or other? Is that what you're thinking
Oh
of?
yeah, no, that wasn't the disastrous one. Orion was actually fun. I think I bought it. I never played it. I'm the
I
worst.
mean,
Dino
Um,
Horde. What
Orion
was the
had
other?
such a
Dino
huge
Horde?
controversy around it, though. It was, once I
Yeah,
found out
Dino-
about it. But
What was the
Primal
one?
Carnage.
Stompland?
Primal Carnage was a pretty
That's the
good
one.
FPS
Yeah.
with dinosaurs in it.
I'm
They-
also thinking of
They needed a bit more work in terms of the actual multiplayer gameplay,
Yeah.
but it wasn't too bad. Yeah, the other one was
Stomping Land. comes to
Stomping
mind.
Land. Yeah.
Yes, Stomping Land. Exactly. It's not even. Oh, I thought I was on Steam.
No, actually, what's happening with that? I believe the team, or at least the team lead, is now working on Ark, which is the new one that was just announced. So, and before that was announced, the last thing that came out of Stomping Land was that they were porting it to a new engine. So my thinking is, this is Stomping Land,
Mhm.
but
Just with a different
on
name.
the new engine. But
Oh,
it
the
is
Stomping
entirely
has
new
been
development
abandoned.
as well. So, yeah, Stomping Land is gone. It's dead. So maybe this is going to be the replacement of that, and that's where the full development is going. Who knows? I mean, I don't want to say anything too soon, but I guess they don't have the best reputation right now, so they've really got an uphill battle to kind of win the audience over again.
Yeah. That'll be difficult.
But if you've seen the trailer, it's actually not bad. Like it is actually, it has promise, it has potential.
I always heard good things about Stomping Land. I thought I never heard anything really truly bad about it. So,
It was basically DayZ with dinosaurs, where the most
Yeah.
dangerous thing are the people.
yes, of course, as usual.
Welcome to the world.
Like, would you like to trek halfway across this island and then be tied up by your feet and dragged around by a random stranger? By Stomping Land. That was what it was, really.
Yeah.
Because you could imprison people. That was like the big thing. Tie somebody up and put them in a cage. There you go.
That's pretty
It's-
hilarious, actually.
It's really weird that the Kickstarter project. It's a weird concept. Like $120,000, and the people that pledged, probably a few people actually that pledged more than the regular base price of the game. They'll never see their money again, and there's nothing you can do about it because that is what Kickstarter is, and people fail to understand that.
Mm-hmm. Kickstarter is like an investment. You never know how it's going to go.
Exactly, you could just end up with nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
People now have the mindset that if you buy something at Kickstarter, you're entitled. I mean, you're of course entitled to what you buy when the game comes out. But if the game fails, the development fails, you're nothing.
You're not entitled to anything, man. It's like, well, it happened. Shit happens.
Alright, so all those deals that you heard previously, just a reminder that they may be ending on Friday, so since you're watching this now, you have 24 hours. Good luck. Alright, and that's kind of bringing us towards the end of the show. Does anyone have any last sort of points of discussion to kind of bring to the table before we end it?
Hmm.
I think we covered most of it this week,
Yeah.
anyways.
Alright.
Well, bringing up something completely new now. I don't think I have anything. I'm pretty happy with
No.
where we stand.
Like I say, I've got a big thing, but that can wait for another week.
Alright.
that could be like another whole 2 hours of talking.
Well, there you go, audience. That's your cliffhanger ending.
Yeah.
Yes, good.
What was she going to talk about?
Until next
Like,
week.
Next week.
yeah.
All right, so
tell me now. Now.
all right, so before we end the show, we'd like to direct you towards our respective channels so you can watch our ads. I mean, videos.
Well,
So I'm gonna hand it over to our guest, Mr. WeaselZone. Where can we find you?
Well, you can call me Weasel. WeaselZone is just where I do my weaselly things in the zone. So I don't know why, just because the channel is named that. I mean, it's like calling you Panzer Gaming. You're just Panzer.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's WeaselZone is the channel name. Thanks for that. YouTube/WeaselZone. There's probably a link somewhere in the description below the video, people. Just click there, and there you click this, and then you watch my videos, and you like them, and you subscribe, and do all the fun things. On right.
Yeah. Or if you ever forget, it's been underneath his webcam image for the last 2.5 hours. So there you go. All right, Miss Foxy, where can we find you?
Yes. Well, as I mentioned earlier on, I have a YouTube channel where I do all my YouTube bits and pieces. So you can find some videos there if you fancy watching those. A few Let's Plays here and there, and makeup tutorials, vlogs, travel videos as well. I forgot to mention that earlier. If not, you can sometimes find me on Twitter. I have that as well. Or in the future, I also have streaming. As everyone else has said before, there'll be links in the description below where you can click the little linky thing below the webcam here. Or just, Google it. It should come up, just Foxy Fauna. It's quite a unique thing, that's why I chose it. there aren't many people called that. Yeah.
Good branding choice there.
yeah.
And Mr. Condor, what do you do and where can we find you?
Since I'm primarily on Twitch, my Twitch is CondorsCondor, which is CondorsCondor, and that is on Twitch. And my Twitter is the same thing, actually. Quite literally the same thing. It's all in the thingy down there.
Yeah, I believe you're working on starting a YouTube channel of your own as well, so that'll be happening soon, right?
One day, yes, I hope so.
Ooh, that'll be awesome.
One day in the future.
One day.
Yeah.
All
You
right.
can do it.
And as for me, well, you're already watching this on my channel, but in case you need the link, it's youtube.com/PanzerSGGaming, or look for Panzer Dusk Attack in Google, because it's kind of easy to find. And
Yeah, I heard he's kind of weird, that guy.
yeah, he is a little bit
guy.
weird. He is a little bit strange. Nobody knows
I
where he's
don't know.
from. Nobody knows who he is.
He's the hero we need, but not the hero we want.
And he makes unnecessary intros for things. All right, so
Yes.
that basically just wraps up the show. Thank you very much for watching. This is the International House of Games, also known as the IHOG. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.